Daryl, we've sat down for quite a lengthy interview. In preparation for this, the club went on social media and asked the fans to submit questions that they'd like put to you, mainly reflecting on season 2022 and with a view to 2023. So we'll get through a few of those. Many of the subject matter in these questions, much of the subject matter you've covered in the lengthy interview, but we'll go and we'll start with Gareth Edwards, referring to that legacy book about the All Blacks and you trying to instill a different culture here. Question he has in it is put to you is, why do you think that maybe that legacy book and the lessons it was trying to impart didn't land with your leadership group?
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult question to answer, but look, I think a lot of that's doing simple things and being humble, but it also, I think you go through that book and it needs a fair bit of change, and I don't think that some people wanted to change this year, and I think, you know, in its entirety, I think that would be why that wasn't the case, because it requires a fair bit of change to be able to deliver some of the things that are in that book.
So a bit more time and we may see the results of a legacy approach to your culture. Okay. Russell Thomas has put this question to you, Mr. Powell, nice and formal. In season 2023, what are you going to do to improve communication between us, the fans, and yourself? During the coming season, there will be times when things aren't going well. This happens to all clubs during a long season, he concedes. So what are you going to do to put in place better communication systems between fans and yourself as the head coach?
Yeah, they recognise that that's something that we need to work really hard, and I think there were times last year where, you know, the fan connection was great. You know, it's the times where it's not great. I'm responsible for that, and I think you know, there's sort of things we're going to be doing, like open training sessions. I've got some ideas on fans forums in terms of how they help us during games. And it's not just about me, it's about the players getting out in the community. They're going to be doing that on a weekly basis, whether it's at schools or it's into the local community or it's in hospitals, to make sure that we are connected as a whole club with the community and with our fan base.
If they feel they're part of you and you're part of them, they'll go to all lengths with you. No question. Roger Cliff, he said it's been pretty obvious to fans this season that whilst we have plenty of talented and experienced players, we are short of on-field leaders, the ones who steady the ship when things aren't going well, the ones who push the team around the pitch. Who do you see fulfilling this role next year?
Well, I think some of the players that we recruited, I think Josh Maguire in particular, Gil Dudson, you know, two pivotal players in the middle of the field who are significant leaders, and I think improvements from within as well. I think people feeding off those guys. So, like I see, there's a couple of players there who are going to be outstanding for us from a leadership perspective.
And some younger players may lead by not just word but by deed.
Yeah, people like Josh Thewlis, you know, young players who've got a whole lot of drive in them, lead by example. He's a really good communicator, Josh, as well. So yeah, I see that some of the younger players, Leon Hayes, for example, spoke at half-time in the Salford game. So there's some people there who've got maturity beyond the years.
Kieran Shire has asked, what would it take? He's asked a number of questions, and you do address many of these issues in the longer interview we've done. But he said, what would it take for you to drop a starting player for a younger academy or reserve lad who deserves the opportunity? Then suggests, I suppose, that there are some senior players that you wouldn't drop after countless shocking performances. Is that true?
No, I don't think so. I think look, I think there's a lot where fans will comment on putting a younger player in there. Look, I work with players on a consistent basis. I think Pete's been consistently one of our better players this year, and I think I showed it, you know, throughout the season that I'll give young players an opportunity. So I think it's an unfair shot, and I certainly throughout my coaching career have given young players an opportunity.
You've got to manage them as well. You can't just throw them in.
No, and you know, they've got to be good enough to do the job, and I've got to make those decisions around what's been a really tough year.
Graham Hall asks a question that I think you've certainly answered in word and in deed as a club. He says the 2022 team struggled with gaining yards for the backs to do any real productive work. You have recruited heavily in the forwards for the 2023 season. Are you concerned with any imbalance that you've got now an outstanding pack and now perhaps not the back line that can harvest the work of this forward pack.
Yeah, we've already alluded to Matt Duffy and what we think he can deliver. Also to the fact that we're looking to sign a couple of key positions. But no, I think, look, you can't fix everything with the click of fingers. And you know, at the start of the year we talked about the pack, and we've worked hard to fix that up. I think we've got a well balanced pack, a well balanced team with lots of young players and experience in it. So I'm pretty confident in what we've got.
Mark Austin follows up on that, asking about your plans for next season, but you have laid them out in detail in answering the previous question and in the lengthy interview. We thank Mark for submitting that. Rob Smith, and it's a nice one to finish on. After the season we as Warrington fans have just had, which game or games stood out to you for when you would like the Wire to be performance-wise at that level again next year? And can you also confirm if we'll be getting another half-back in, or will we be giving young Leon Hayes a shot? So first of all, when did you come closest to a Daryl Powell performance in season 2022?
I think the St Helens game at home was pretty close. I think consistent defensively. I thought we were pretty good with the ball. For me, you take the best team at the moment as close as that. I thought we were unlucky not to get something at the end. So there were a couple of other games where I thought functionally, the game against Castleford early on, the game against Huddersfield at home, and I thought for a period actually against Huddersfield away, when we nearly reeled them in at the end. The try from the kick-off, for example, play 2, where we moved the ball and Matt Duffy scores. There's certain things within there that we've been trying to eke out of the team on a regular basis. We're trying to play in that vein on a consistent basis, which will really help us.